Ladies and gentlemen, boys and ghouls, welcome. Hi, there's a fly over here. My name is Metal, the greatest mad showman under Earth. And today I'm going to be teaching you a very useful technique for texturing with 3D models. This will be the second in the series of my Blender Beginners Tutorial series. These are tutorials for teaching you the basics of Blender that you can go ahead and immediately get up and begin making your own extravagant creations. And minions. So, today I will once again be teaching you how to use materials to texture your models. Before you is the simple square. Before you, once I press tab, is the simple square now in edit mode. You need to be in edit mode. For this, to do this properly, let's press down here in the material properties. It's going to be a circle object. So we're going to go down here into material properties. Automagically, this will have an assigned material right here. But it's a color, and we don't want that. We want a texture. Now this technique, as I go over here, I go down to base color. Where it's, see this white here? Yes. We're going to press that little circle thing, and then we're going to press image texture. We're going to click image texture, and then it changes. Now, this technique is a really great way of making simple objects. Now, I'm going to go over to textures. Now, these are all textures and things that I'm using for another game that I am working on with a small team of awesome people. And what I want to do with this is I want to pick a texture. Any texture for me will do. Let's go with something that'll make it easy to understand what's going on. How about metal rusty? Rusty metal. And now we've applied rusty metal. But nothing's changed, you say. What is this? Nothing has changed. Well, press Z while you have your mouse inside of here. And you'll see this little radial dial of sorts here. This will change your shading. It says shading right there. So you'll go rendered, solid, material preview, and wireframe. Wireframe does this. Well, that was interesting. Wireframe does this. Rendered does this. Solid brings you back to your normal, and material preview applies the material. Rendered also applies the material, but I do believe it also applies lighting. Yeah, it applies lighting. You'll notice there's a little lighting thing, and then there is the camera. So the camera is what will render it out when you actually render a picture or something dumb like that from camera. And the point light over here just goes, it's a light. So you see how it's so dark and light over here. So we're going to go to material preview. Now you have a fully completed item. You actually don't need to do anything else at this point. But I'm going to teach you another thing. So we're going to highlight this entire thing. I'm going to press A and highlight it. All right? A highlights it. I'm going to go to UV. I'm going to do something interesting. I'm going to press cube projection. Now, cube projection, what this does is something really cool. You notice the texture is all the same on everything. This is because, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and grab this. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to press UV editor. And you'll notice that all of these have filled pretty much everything. But I don't want to do that fully. There we go. So if I want it to go back to the original way that it was, I press usually UV unwrap or live unwrap. There we go. Usually works. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's just kind of like, no, this is normal, this is fine, this is proper. And it's like, no, it's not. Stop it. But I can do things like cylinder projection, which turns it into a nightmarish mess. There's also sphere projection, which does kind of similar things. And then project from view, which is also a way you can do some weird shenanigans. And project from view bounds, which actually brings it into a bounds, which also can work, ironically, especially if you're just slapping something together and it doesn't have to look exactly the same, whatever, you don't care. You're like, I don't give a crap. Just as long as it's different. So you see you can use this UV up here, this UV that I keep highlighting to constantly change it. Smart UV projection. This one is another thing that's useful. Not sure what that is. Oh, okay, that's something else. This is the texture I've got here is just a kind of a dummy texture for playing around and making sure things are working the way I want them to. So, so yeah, now you see how you could use different UVs to unwrap stuff. You can, of course, also do additional UV unwrapping shenaniganry as well. You can also do some other crazy shenanigans as well with UV unwrapping. Let's say, for example, I'm going to press over here on the square so I can select this and this. Let's say, first of all, I want to get rid of that weird statement on there. So I'm going to go to photo barcode. Actually, wall metal, open. Hey, that's better. So much better. It's not the best, but whatever. This is just a tutorial. I want to select these two sides, and I'll press A. So let's say I'm making something. I want these to all fit on the image, or something like that. So what I can do is I can press 3, highlighting this and this on the red line, so I can press 3. So this is on the x-axis. You can also go over here and press x-axis, and then you can make sure that the two things on the x-axis are highlighted. Cool, got it. Clear as mud. Awesome, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press project from view bounds, and what that does is it actually takes over the entire thing. So let's say I want this one and this one on the y-axis different. Now you see where they are right now. And I don't want them there. I want them, I'm going to press 1. I want them here on the y-axis. I want them project from view. And I want these to actually be in the dead center. And I can go over here, by the way. I can go over here, I can press G, and I can move this around anywhere I want. But I don't want to. I want this to be dead center because I plan on putting that in the center, and I want these on the sides for whatever reason. Maybe I'm working with something that is wood or metal or whatever. It's been atlased or whatever, and I want to do stuff with it. But I'm going to press S down here while my mouse is down here in the viewport of this, and I want it to be just a little bit bigger. Not big enough that the little metal rivets are shown, but just big enough. So maybe this is me attempting to make an elevator. So I do that. And then I want to change the top and the bottom to be like the sides. I want them to look like the normal sides. Just for that fact. So I'll press 7. Project from view bounds, same thing. Now let's say I go back here. I'm going to highlight this. This is on the y-axis. So I can actually even go over here and press the green y-axis, and it'll bring me to the y-axis. And I'll say, well, I don't want it to look like the other stuff. And I'll press project from view bounds, which will mean that this will be just like every other side except for this. And if you haven't figured it out, project from view and project from view bounds, what they do is depending on how close or far away you are on this screen, on this upper top screen, the edit mode screen, this will be your 3D view. This is your 3D view. When you press project from view will essentially grab all those polys and just slap them on the texture down below. Whatever size you've got here is whatever it's going to do. Now, if you go project from view bounds, it goes to the edges, usually top to bottom. Once the top and the bottom hit, it stops. So if it's too wide or whatever, it's too small, you can wind up with some issues. Here's another fun thing that I'm going to show you. If I go down here and press S, all right, I'm down here in the UV editor. I'm going to press S and I'm going to do this. This, by default, will allow me to overlap, to put multiple textures on the same thing over and over again. Now I can, just like in edit mode, press Control or Shift. Shift, I believe, makes it smaller, and then Control usually has the ability to kind of chunk it. But here's another cool technique I'm going to teach you really quick, considering I've got some time. If you've got S already hit, you go up to the number pad, right? I'm going to press, let's say 5. And then I'm going to press Enter. And what this did was this 5 times. It basically took the texture, the UV map down here. What I did was I just had it take this part and just multiply its size times 5, so now it's overlapped it 5 times. Now granted, you can change a bunch of different things, like, hey, I want this to not overlap and just be negative space or something. You can change that, but I'm not going to teach you how to do it here. There is some stuff you can do, but I'm not going to really worry about it. There's UV selection mode for islands, which is really nice. My gosh, I can't tell you how cool it is. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate everything. You guys continuing to come over here and be like, oh, this is awesome. I'm learning actually something. I don't know. Oh, I'm getting loopy. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate you guys coming in here, checking this place out, and hopefully you've learned something useful. If there's something you want me to try to teach or talk about, put it down in the description. Put it down in the description. Only I have access to the description. Go ahead and put it down in the comments below, and let me know what you want. From me, I'm having fun. I'm making stuff. I'm doing crazy stuff. So I'm happy to be able to do this. So if you want me to teach you something cool, let me know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you're on YouTube. Ring the bell. I don't know why they have a bell. I think it's kind of a silly extra bit of code that probably doesn't need to be used. And it's probably gumming up something. I'm a programmer, so that kind of stuff. I'm like, no, don't do that. But anyway, thank you guys again so much for watching and whatnot. If this helped you, throw it to your friends. If you want me to, again, if you want me to teach you something, if you want me to talk about something specifically or a technique or something you might have heard of, let me know. I can hunt it down, track it down, remember it or learn it, and then try to teach it to you guys as quickly and as effectively as possible. Anyway, with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.